So guys, we are coming into the assignment of your marketing and digital strategy subject in CIM level 6, marketing and digital strategy, CIM level 6. So here, what we need to remember is we have to do a strategic marketing plan here, covering both traditional and the digital dimensions. So you got to uh, look at how you are going to address certain areas that they are requesting. Immaterial to the style of marketing plan you have studied in your learning, you need to look at, okay, whatever the areas they are expecting you to cover in your answer. So let's look at one by one how we need to address this part of your assignment. You need to make sure that you read each and every part, each and every point in your assignment before you start your working. So let's look at one by one, and I will take you all through the key points that you need to cover in your assignment. So it's a marketing plan. First thing you got to remember this, you have to do a marketing plan. So there are different steps in marketing planning process, and there are different processes you might have studied as marketing planning process. But what you need to remember, you need to cover the core, the main parts of the marketing planning process with whatever the learning you have done previously. So let's read one by one, then you can get an idea, of course, how you need to address these few questions that are there in your marketing and the digital strategy subject. So let's look at from the beginning. For your organization, let's read from the beginning, for your own organization or an organization of your choice. So it can be the place where you are working, or it can be your chosen organization of your choice. You might not be an employee, you might not working for an organization, but you might select another company, or else you might be working for one company, but you might even select another company. That is perfectly okay. So as long as you access for facts and the data from that particular company. Otherwise, it will be a bit of a challenging for you all to complete this one, since so much of data and the internal facts and figures needed to complete this part of your assignment. And you have been asked to produce a 3-year marketing plan. Guys, this is another significant area, right? We need to, it's not 1 year, it's not 2 years, it's a 3-year marketing plan. 3 years, right? Marketing plan. So you need to remember that. So in relation to the chosen theme, we know that, I mean, you all have 4 themes, right? You all have how many themes? You all have 4 themes in total. You all have 4 themes, right, in total. So out of that, you have to select one of the themes after discussing with your, with me, so that you can finalize which theme to continue with your company and the rest of the task. So I think we have already finalized the themes with your group, so that you can continue with the same way. So your marketing plan could follow the planning framework of your choice. As I said, there are many planning frameworks. Whatever you have learned, it can be 4-step, 5-step, 8-step, 12-step, or whatever the number of steps, perfectly okay. However, they specifically mention, however, right? It should cover following elements and should be written to meet the requirements of the chosen theme. So you have already selected the theme, as I said. So, and also with whatever the framework you have learned, you should be able to cover the questions they are asking, right, under A, B, C, D, E. So whatever the questions they are asking, you should be able to cover. So let's look at one by one. Let's look at one by one how we are going to address this part. So part B of your marketing and digital strategy subject is all about strategic audit. Is all about strategic audit. So it's one of the significant area. The strategic audit is one of the significant area where you need to study. And the audit is all about to visualize the current market condition, current situation of the business compared to the external and the internal market. So audit, we use different words. Strategic, you might say strategic audit. You might say strategic marketing audit. You might say, to visualize the situation analysis of the business. So strategic audit we do to identify where are we now? Where are we now? Compared to what? Compared to your internal and compared to your external, right? So where are we right now? Our current situation. With the strategic audit, we identify our current situation. So if you really look at the definition of the strategic audit or the strategic marketing audit, we define the strategic marketing audit as a systematic process. We call it as a systematic process, because you don't just do it. You can't just start doing an audit. It should be a systematic approach, and it should be an unbiased approach, right? Unbiased approach, because the moment you said you give this responsibility only for the marketing department, and if there are clashes between the marketing department and the other department, so it the marketing department will be biased to themselves or the departments that are favored for them. So we should make sure the audit is unbiased, and it should be a comprehensive one. It should be a comprehensive one. So comprehensive meaning you have to cover each and every part of your auditing area. Now, basically, we identified two major areas in auditing. One is the external environment and the other one is the internal environment. So you need to cover both the external environment as well as the internal environment. So when you look at the external environment, we further classify the external environment into micros and the macros. So that macroeconomic environment and the microeconomic environment, so that you are covering almost everything. Right. So internal environment, you look at your, resources, right, and capabilities. You look at your culture. You look at your, relationships. You look at your, things you connected with the portfolio and things like that connected with the internal organization. So to identify the current position of the internal business. So in this, in some of your studies, you might have learned internal environment as part of microeconomic environment or the micro environment, which is completely correct, 100% correct. So I have taken here just to elaborate the internal and the external factors here, where you have a significant difference between this. So external micro, if you really look at, you can talk about your suppliers, you can talk about your competitors, you can talk about your channel intermediaries or the middlemen, right? So you can talk about your public environment, right? So you can talk about your final either B2B or B2C customers. So people like that, elements like that, or the stakeholder connectivities like that you can talk about. So all these are, remember, your stakeholders, right? Your stakeholders of the business. So the macroeconomic environment, you can look at, there's a framework we identified called PESTIL, right? PESTIL. So you can study the PESTIL framework to identify the macroeconomic environment. So PESTIL means the political, it's an acronym to represent a couple of words, what you see here. So PESTIL is the political, economical, socio-cultural, and the demographic environment, technological environment, ethical environment, ecological, which means the natural environment, and the legal environment. So in certain textbooks, you might have heard about only PEST. Previous textbooks, you might have heard about only PESTEL. It's perfectly okay. Time to time, the certain perspectives are changing. So the PESTEL we are learning as in the current context. So even these are 100% accurate, nothing wrong in them. So you identify. So once you identify this area, right? So what do?